Hey, Wes here. This is part 2 of primitive pottery firing. Say that quickly 10 times. Part 1 was about the mechanics of firing. Part 2 is actually firing this pot. And what I want to do is show you the whole thing. I'm going to let the camera roll, and so it goes for a while. So you can skip ahead and make it go fast or watch the whole thing, whatever you want to do. But I wanted to show you the details without a whole lot of editing. But I will admit that towards the end, I had the camera too close to the fire and it overheated and the camera shut off. But I still was able to get everything that you need. And if you watched number 1, you saw that I have a giveaway. So this is the pot that is being fired. And if you stay tuned to the end of this video, I'll give you the information about how you can get in the drawing for this pot or for a bunch of these stickers that I'm going to give away. So let's get started. So now I'm ready to start the primary fire. Actually, I found some charcoal briquettes laying around the campground here, and I have those on the bottom, and then some pallet wood and a couple other chunks of wood. I just put some lighter fluid on it. I think in this case it'll start. I have some smaller pieces that are cut up. This pallet wood tends to burn pretty easily. The thing with a primary fire, you don't have to be that particular about it. The main fire that we use for firing the pottery is going to be a much more specific thing. In this case, we just want a basic fire to build up a bed of coals. So we'll let this burn for a little while and then we'll come back and get the other fire going. So this is our primary fire, and have a couple of pots that are sitting next to it to preheat. That will drive out any remaining moisture there. And we'll rotate those pots from time to time. I think it also helps a little bit that they're hotter, and so there's maybe a little less thermal shock when it actually goes into the main fire. But that's probably a minor consideration. The primary fire is just about as far as it needs to go. I just need a bed of coals. I have here prepared wood, different sizes and types. And my goal here is to have everything ready to go. It looks a little messy, but it's ready to go so I don't have to scramble around looking for other materials to build the secondary or the main fire for firing the pottery. Okay, what I typically do is kind of create an open space in the middle to put the pots on. I need some kiln furniture. You can use rocks. In this case, I just have broken up bricks. That works too. It should be dry. Sometimes if you have wet rocks, they can actually explode, which would be an unfortunate problem. Usually speaking, with the pots, I put them face down or top down. I think for a couple reasons. Well, one, you want the kiln furniture so that the pot is getting air circulation underneath. And if it's up, face up, it's going to get ashes and that sort of thing in it. So we have a couple of pots here today. Usually lean one up against the other. And you can use pottery sherds to cover the whole business if you want. That has a couple of purposes. One, it can kind of protect any painting that you have. We're not going to do that today. This is all about doing it the simple way. So we're just going to build the fire right over the top of this. What we'll probably see is a number of fire clouds over on the top, or be on the bottom of these pots. And some people don't like fire clouds, other people do. I think it gives it a nice authentic look. So now I think we're ready to go ahead and build the fire on top of all of this and get it going. All right. Okay, so right here we've put in a thermocouple to test just how hot the fire is going to be. And now we can start building this fire. The idea typically is to kind of make a teepee-like fire. Hopefully it doesn't all fall apart. Where one thing leans against the other. Use a variety of different sizes, small and large. And I always want to think about having plenty of airspace in here as well. And if everything works perfectly, the fire burns and it just all kind of collapses all at one time. Perfection is an elusive kind of thing around here. This mostly is oak and maple. So, and then these pieces are probably some kind of fir or pine from pallet wood. So those will burn quickly, snap, crackle, and pop. So let's add some small stuff now. Sometimes with this primary fire, it will get this other fire, your main fire, burning all on its own. Let's have some nice dry sticks here. Kind of mixed kinds of wood here. You can see the way that this is being built, that we're going to have some pretty tall flames. So always be thinking about the safety part of this. You do not want a fire to get away from you. Check, make sure you don't have fire restrictions wherever you live. There's quite a bit of wood on here, and I think this is probably enough. In some ways, it's better to have too much than too little. So, I think we are probably ready to go. Let's get some paper inside there. What I do is just find some open spaces, put a little bit of paper in. I don't need very much. Kind of depends on just how hot everything is. And I'll use some lighter fluid on that. I'm gonna begin. So sometimes once you get it started, you'll see that it's uneven. It'll maybe burn a lot on one side and not much on the other. So you can adjust some things. It's always nice to have a little extra wood to do that. So let's get this going here. There we are. And the time is 11:30 a.m. We'll just let this run and see how long it takes. Back the camera up because it just gets too hot. It'll shut the camera off. So this would be the reduction phase. It's just consuming a whole lot of fuel right now. And if you looked at the pots, they're probably black and sooty. And I don't know, you probably can't see them in there very well. But once this fuel gets kind of burned off and the impurities are burned out of it, then we get more into an oxidation phase. And that carbon will be burned off. We'll test the temperature here in just a second. With a thermocouple, is that centigrade? Yeah. So 175 degrees centigrade. And I also have a temperature sensor here. Let's see a pot there. The flames on this fire are usually up to like 6 feet tall. Yeah, the fire is generally seems to be burning evenly. Now, ideally, you pick weather that's dry and no wind. A good breeze will throw everything off. A calm day is much better for getting a nice even fire. Thermocouple says it's 270 degrees Celsius. We would like 700, 800, something like that. The outside of the pot is 700 degrees Celsius. So it's the inside of the fire that is about 300 degrees. heard a little clink, did you? Usually if a pot's going to break, it happens within the first couple minutes. And you can hear it pop or clink. So we'll see. So now we can see here the pot is exposing itself. And the outside of that pot is 650. I try and put a little extra wood right there. Sure. A lot of times if you try to add wood, your fire itself kind of falls apart. It's kind of fragile. We'll see what happens.
Maybe pile it up at the bottom a little bit and then pile on top of that.
It's hot. Having a pair of gloves definitely helps. So this does not seem to have quite as much heat as the rest of the fire. On this side I'm seeing as high as like 770. That's hot enough. You're getting 400 Celsius.
Yeah, it's taking a while for the inside to get maybe an updraft or something that's keeping it cooler. I don't know.
On this side where we just added the wood, that's 780. You can see that you can't see, but I can see where it's burned the carbon off on the outside of the pot. Now the fire is starting to cave in a little bit, which is typical. On this side it's right at 800. $780 to 800 Celsius. Just be nice to be hotter, but it's okay.
Yeah, the underside's taking its time. If that thermocouple is to be trusted. Sometimes I wondered if it was a little under.
Okay, let's look at these pots a little closer. So you can see the bottom of the pots. They're not black anymore. It means that that's an oxidizing fire. It's burned off the carbon. So this fire is not going to get any hotter than it already is. And I think the fire's been going about 10 minutes. now just a little bit before noon. Unfortunately, my camera got too hot and it shut off, so we missed some of that firing. The total fire, actually the productive part, lasted maybe 12 minutes or so. 12-15 minutes is pretty typical, and then it just takes a while for everything to cool down, and that's what's been happening now. And so I think we're going to go ahead and take these pots out and see what happened. So as predicted, we have some fire clouds on this. And usually on the bottom side, as you can see, you don't have fire clouds. I'll set it over here. And I don't see any breaks. And it rings, so it's fired. So there is another way, really easy way to fire pottery. You may not have access to good dry wood, but you do have access to charcoal. You can just go down to the store and buy a big bag of charcoal. And all you have to do is mound it up over the top of your pottery. And you may want to put some kind of bricks around it to kind of contain it, but you don't even need to do that. And light it on fire and it will fire. Now you're probably going to get a bunch of these fire clouds on the bottom of it. It may not necessarily be pretty, although you may think it's beautiful. But charcoal works great. And even better than regular charcoal briquettes typically is if you get the lump charcoal. That burns a little bit hotter, tends to be a lot more expensive, but that's an option too. Really simple, very easy. Well, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and if you have any comments of whatever, I'll do my very best to answer them, or maybe you have some other ideas that people should know about. Okay, what about the drawing for this? All you have to do is enter a comment in the video. And in fact, you can enter comments in each of the 3 videos, and your name will go into a random drawing 3 different times. And then I will just select someone out of a hat, and I will send you this shoe pot. If you would like a Airstream Wanderings limited edition sticker, what I would like you to do is to leave a comment, but I would also like you to send me an email with your name and address to airstreamwanderings@gmail.com. That way I can mail you this. I'm not going to use your name and address in any other way. I'm going to delete it all once this is all taken care of. I have a limited number of these, so hopefully everybody will be able to get one. So thanks again for watching. Certainly appreciate it. Stay tuned for video number 3. And until next time, wishing you health, happiness, peace, and love. Take care. Bye-bye.